Okay, fine. Hi guys, and good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Are you able to see my screen? Is my screen visible?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes, sir.
yeah.
Perfect. So it's 7 now, and we're going to start. So, fine. So again, a humble request. So please try to join at least 2 minutes before the session time, so that we can start at 7 sharp. Okay, perfect. Let's start. So before proceeding, any confusion or any clarification, anyone of you looking any of the topics what we have discussed so far, any confusion, anything you wanted me to tell me? Anyone? No confusion? Okay, fine. So let me quickly recap things what we have discussed yesterday.
Tanvir, quick
Mm-hmm.
question.
Yeah.
Vaidyanathan here.
Yeah.
So the thing is since ETL is dealing with all with data, so do
Mm-hmm.
you feel like mostly all the projects will be on a mostly will be on a continuous maintenance project, right? So will not be having an end date at all. So anyway, every month or every quarter will be having a new data being uploaded accordingly.
Mm-hmm.
So so do it mean like the projects will be always under maintenance and the people will be having the work continuously with respect to ETL?
Okay. Okay. Okay.
This is my understanding is correct.
Okay, let me clarify that. First of all, let's try to understand what is the meaning of maintenance from IT industry perspective. Okay, maintenance at a very high level, it means that you have developed a software, okay, or you have developed any other application, or you have developed a data warehouse. Now it is mature enough in the sense there are no production issues, okay, and the business stakeholders, they are very much satisfied with the application or with the product what you have delivered, okay. But down the line, here and there might be some production issue, or they might need some enhancement, or they might need some support. In that case, you go with the maintenance. Okay, that's a very high level definition of any maintenance project in any IT industry. Okay, but if you're talking about data related application or data related project, so if you're working in any ETL project, so mostly it is like once you have curated that you have prepared all those things, database is ready, everything is ready. So continuously you are getting data on a daily basis. Okay, don't think that okay, I have loaded data of last 2 years or coming 1 year, everything is fine. Now it is saturated. No, especially in data warehouse or ETL projects on a daily basis. That depends project to project wise, but maybe on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis, you are expecting that you will get data, okay, and you have to monitor that, or you have to see the behavior of that. So it is not like that once you have loaded data and everything is done, everything is over. No, it's not like that. In a ETL project on a daily basis you'll be getting data, because if you're not loading data of a daily basis of the daily transaction, what is happening, how the business stakeholders will come to know that how your business is performing, right? So that's why you have to load data on a daily basis in ETL project, and you can see the progress, the how the business is performing. Hope I answered the question.
Yeah, it makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. So in any ETL project, you have to be very alert at all the time. It is not like a front-end application. You have designed an application is stable now. You have tested all the functionalities are perfect. Users, they are very happy that everything is good. Now you have to go and sleep. No, it's not like that. In ETL project, you never know when, what kind of data you'll be getting. So you have to be ready from each and every perspective. You have to be alert. And guys, data is something like diamond these days in any IT industry, because if you don't have good quality of data, you cannot make some good decision. And ultimately your business has to suffer before because of that. That's why if you see, most of the job profile these days, data scientist, data analytics, or database developer, database administrator, okay, data analyst, business analyst, they all work on top of data. Okay, I think you guys know this, all machine learning, artificial intelligence, this all works on top of data. So that's why the data is the grain, data is like a bread and butter these days. So you should know how to handle data. You should know how to slice and dice the data. You should know how to fetch useful information from the data. And for that perspective, you have the SQL language, NoSQL language. If you have very good expertise, then you can fetch the required information from the data. But before that, the quality of data should be good. If the quality of data is not good, it means the numbers is not coming correctly. So even if you are very expert in SQL language, you are very top grade data scientist. So the information what you will fetch, that will not be correct. So for that, the first thing is the data quality, and that is where ETL testers or the ETL engineers come into picture. You have to guarantee that your data is correct now. That's why I told you yesterday, means you have to apply checks. You have to apply security guards at each and every layer, at each and every step of an ETL project. Okay, that's the most important thing. Fine. Any other question? But that's very good. I like this asking questions and making the session practice. So guys, humble request, please keep on asking questions. I'm not bothered that I have to complete this course in 2 weeks. Even if it is required to complete in 3 weeks, not an issue. Okay, don't bother about that. And really, this will be going to help you in your live project as well and the interviews as well. Okay. Any other question? Okay, perfect. I think everyone has joined. Perfect. Okay. So, sorry, since yesterday, so just do me a quick recap of topics what we have discussed so far. Okay. So yesterday we have seen that the ETL is required. ETL means EX stands for extraction, T for transform, and L for load. So what yesterday we have discussed that why ETL. So the purpose of ETL is you are extracting data from your multiple sources. Sources means your business point, from what all areas or from what all locations your business is working or operating. Okay, so you have to extract data from all the sources, and then you have to load data in a staging area, and then you have to apply the calculations, the logics what you want. Okay, and then the final data you have to load in a data warehouse or in the access layer. Okay, and then finally you have to show the report maybe on OBI, Power BI, or any other application, whatever you like. So the final result, the final fruit of this ETL is to get report, and from those reports, your business stakeholders, they can understand how the business is performing, and accordingly they can make some decisions in the benefit of business. Okay, so this is one of the application of ETL. Sometime what happens, you have extracted data from multiple sources. Okay, you have applied the calculations, you have loaded data in the final layer or the access layer, and sometime you have to send this data to some other application as well. Some other application wants this data, they have to apply their own logic. So sometime after loading data into the final data warehouse or the access layer, we have to send this data to other teams as well. Maybe they want to do some more calculations on top of that. So why I'm telling this, so don't think that okay, Tanveer has told that okay, once the data has loaded in access layer, we have created a report, the numbers on the report is correct, so this is the only purpose of ETL project, just to create a report. No, this is not the only purpose. This is one of the purpose, one of the reason. Sometime when you have loaded data in the access layer, some other teams, they need this data because maybe they have to do some other calculation on top of that. Okay, so that's why you have to share this data with other teams in your organization as well. Okay, so this was this very high level we have seen yesterday. Any question on this? Okay, if no question, let's proceed. So, guys, again, I'm repeating, please don't shy, ask questions. Okay, any questions if you have in your mind, a silly question, a complex question, whatever it may be. Okay, don't assume, ask questions blindly. Perfect. So now ETL, nowadays you might have heard about a new concept, about a new technology, that is ELT. So what is ELT? Why you have this new concept of ELT? We will see all these things down the line. So before that, we have, again I'm repeating, we have broadly two varieties of data. One is a structured data and the other is unstructured data. The one which I have shown you, which we have discussed yesterday, is structured data and unstructured data. They will see about this structured and unstructured data in details down the line. Okay, so but here just very high level, a structured data means something which you can store in a table in like rows and columns format. Okay, may I know how many of you in this group know SQL? Can you please ping me in chat box? Yes or no, like that. Okay, because I need to plan my session accordingly. If you have an idea of SQL, so I will talk with respect to that. Because like if you're working in ETL project, so SQL and Unix, at least you should know this two. You should have these two skill sets. This is very much required. But nowadays, the organizations, they're looking for Python as well. So if you have these three things, SQL, Unix, and Python, no, so that's great, really. Okay. No, I'm not asking to rate yourself. Just if even if you know anything about SQL, even if you have know whatever it may be about SQL, so just ping me so I can understand my audience, and that will help me to understand a little bit. Okay, perfect. Thus, everyone, please. Okay, Unix no SQL, yes. Okay, yes, I know SQL. High information, just okay. Basics, fine. Okay. Okay, perfect. So I think perfect, very good. So most of you know, at least I'm not talking very about the very complicated concepts of SQL. Just even if you know the basics, no, that is sufficient. Okay, fine. Most of you know, perfect. Okay. So structured data means the data like my name, Mohammed Tanveer Khan, my address, okay, my account number, my phone number, my email ID. So these all are the structured data or the data which can be stored in a table in rows and columns format, that is known as structured data. Okay, and your SQL language works only on structured data. ETL is only about structured data. Okay. So, but nowadays, I mean, like for the last 10 years, we have seen and we have experienced that there is a means like a huge increase in the unstructured data, because of this social media, right? Facebook, WhatsApp, Instagram, Twitter, right? LinkedIn applications. So they are creating a lot of unstructured data as well, or YouTube. Okay. Now, if you don't have the technology to process this unstructured data, if you don't have the technology to fetch information from this unstructured data, then you will not be able to understand that how your business is performing, what your customers need. Okay, so that's why the new technology came into picture, the big data, Hadoop, NoSQL, and all those things. And from there, all this new road or new path came into picture about ELT, NoSQL, and all those things. Okay, so we are not going to discuss in much detail, but wherever that will come in line, we will discuss about the unstructured data as well. So this is the very high level segregation of structured and unstructured data, like your audio, video, image files. No, these are the unstructured data. If you want to process this data, then you have to work with the Hadoop, MapReduce, and NoSQL technologies. Okay, fine. So this was all about we have discussed. So here mostly we will be talking, we will be discussing about the structured data. It means how to process that structured data, how to load that in different layers, and how to get the useful information, how to guarantee that the data quality is good, what all validations you have to do in each and every layer. Okay, so these are all the things we will going to discuss. Okay, Fine, very good. Now coming to the next slide, again this talks about the ATN only. Okay, my screen is visible clearly, or you guys want me to zoom it?
It's visible.
Yeah, visible. Yeah,
Okay,
it's visible.
perfect, perfect. So here I'm trying to show you more realistic situation. Okay, extraction. You can see like I'm showing you the example of this Facebook, Salesforce data, and many other data. So why I'm showing all those things is and the purpose of this is the extraction. The extraction means you should be able to extract. Sorry, you should be able to extract data from all the possible sources. Okay, suppose, consider example, real life example. You're working in a project, okay, and the project has started. You have a meeting with the business stakeholders, okay, and your BA business analyst is there, and you will be there, okay. In that, software developer is also there, maybe. And this is the very first meeting going on, and this is the requirement gathering meeting, okay. Maybe in your project you will be have some different name for this, but this is a very generic term, requirement gathering or requirement analysis team call. Okay, so in that what happened, so the business stakeholders, they will tell you their requirement. Okay, now from the testing perspective, you have to ask that the number of sources, that okay, how many sources are there. It means from how many sources are you expecting data. So in the previous example, the last which we have discussed about the restaurant, right? Here we have restaurant at 8 locations. Okay. Now suppose I'm expecting that I will receive transaction data from all these 8 locations on a daily basis. Okay. And I have hired a guy, Raghu, I think I told yesterday. He's a technical guy and he can do all the manipulations. He can load the data and he can apply all the formula so that he can give me the data, the results, like whatever I want. Suppose if I will tell to Raghu that Raghu, tell me that the total profit I have made yesterday. Okay, so he can do quickly. He can do some calculation and he will collate the data from all the sources, and then he will tell me that okay, this is the total profit your restaurant has made. Okay, so like this, he can do all the calculations and he can tell me the number, and from that number, I can understand that how my business is performing, how it is increasing or decreasing, right? But now my question is, please listen carefully. Okay, out of these 8 sources, suppose on a particular day I have not received data from one source, maybe from Mumbai I have not received data. I have received data only from 7 sources. Okay, and Raghu has applied his logic on top of this 7 sources data. He has told me that okay, Tanvir, today profit is, suppose today is 2nd December. Okay, 2nd December. Okay, and Raghu told me that Tanvir, today total profit is 100 rupees. Okay, and suppose yesterday he has told me that Tanvir, total profit was rupees 120. Okay, now I have made only 100 rupees profit today, and today I have not received data not received from Mumbai. Now see, and I don't know this, the data from Mumbai has not been received. Okay. So I will think that, okay, what happens that my profit decreased from 120 to 100, right? I'll be thinking about this, but I am not sure the data from Mumbai has not been received. Okay. Now tell me, is this the correct information what I am getting?
No.
No.
No, this is not correct. So
Yeah.
where the mistake is, who has done the mistake?
Developer.
No, here Raghu has done the mistake, or the manager of that Mumbai restaurant has done the mistake. Who has done the mistake?
Both the persons actually.
Both the
Manage-
persons. Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Anyone else? Any other thought, guys?
Raghu is the responsible.
Yeah.
Raghu is responsible. Okay, very good, perfect. See, actually, Raghu is responsible here. Why? Because maybe it can happen that's any particular day the manager, he is not able to send data, maybe because of any restrictions or any limitation. Maybe on that particular day in Mumbai there were a situation like It was the order from government that you have to close the shop. Maybe some lockdown kind of scenario was there. Okay, so the manager, what he can do, if it is lockdown, he cannot open shop, and ultimately he cannot share data with you or something like that. Or maybe the shop was open, but at that moment he was not able to prepare the report, and he has requested Raghu that, Raghu, I will send you the report or the numbers after 1 hour. Okay, but what Raghu has done, he has processed the data based on these 7 locations, and he has told me that, Tanvir, today we have made a profit of rupees 100. Okay, so here actually Raghu should tell me exactly that, Tanvir, what happened. We have not received data from Mumbai restaurant, and that's why the total profit is 100. This is the first scenario. Okay, and the second scenario is, before processing this data, Raghu should tell to the location that, no, once I will receive the entire data, then only I will generate the profit. Otherwise, the profit will give me an incorrect number, incorrect picture, right? So in that way, whenever you're working in any ATL project, so before that, the first question is how many sources you have. Okay, if you have 8 sources, so it means you, as a tester, you have to validate on a daily basis that you are receiving data from all the 8 sources or not. Even if you're not receiving data from one source, then you should not proceed ahead. Why? You can tell me that what will happen. No issues. I have data from 7 sources. I can process this. I can show the number on the report. But you know what will happen? You will show incorrect number on the report, right? And the business stakeholders, they will get confused that how the profit has decreased, because they are not aware that we have not received data from one source. So these points are very important, and this happens on a daily basis in any project. Okay, so the first question is how many sources you have. Okay, and when you're going to start your testing, so your first test case should be validate the number of source files, or validate the number of source data. Okay, is this clear or not? First test case is clear.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so I'm talking from end-to-end perspective. Okay, so maybe those who are working live project, maybe they would have not encountered this, but I'm not telling that you cannot tell that, Tanvi, in my project we are not bothered about that. I'm not talking about a very special case. Okay, I'm talking about a general scenario of an ETL. As an ideal ETL testers, what all things you should test. Okay, don't be very specific. Okay, that, no, I'm not involved in the file level validation, I'm doing only report validation, I'm not bothered about all these things. So maybe that is a scenario in your project, but my responsibility is to make you understand about each and every aspect where your testing should be involved. Okay, so the first test case is you should check the number of how many sources are there. Even if any one source is missing, you should not process the data. Okay, in that case, you should contact this particular source a manager or of this source, and ask him that, okay, we have not received data from this source, how to proceed. Okay, so this is the way you have to proceed. Oh, this is clear. Okay. So that's what I have mentioned here, the source files. The source files, it means the data what you're getting from the source team. Okay, data you might get in flat file or .csv format or .txt format or .dat format. These are the generic formats in which you can get data from the source team. And sometime what happens, no, you will not get data in file directly. The source team will send you the data in any of the database, maybe like Microsoft SQL Server or directly in the Oracle SQL Developer. That also happens, because once I was working in a project, and in that project the source team will directly send data in the Microsoft SQL Server database. So that is also possible. So don't think that if I mention here flat file, so it means you will get data from the source team always in the flat file. No, it is not like that. That depends from project to project perspective. Hope this is clear. So your first test case is count of source files. First of all, you have to validate whether you're getting data from all the source files or not. If you have 10 source files, then you have to write a test case that you must receive data from all the 10 source files to 10 sources. Even if any one source is missing, you should raise a defect you should contact that particular source owner that we have not received the source files. We cannot proceed, because if you will proceed, we can load the data, but the numbers which will be shown on the report will be incorrect. Okay, hope this is clear. Okay, fine. So this is about loading and transformation. You have loaded, and this transformation, you can see I have shown here plus, minus, multiplication, divide, and all those things. So this is the calculation. This is the main logic what you're applying. Okay. And after this, if everything looks good, you have tested and everything looks good, then you have to show this number on the report. So this is a very high level flow in any ETL project, in any typical ETL project. This is the way it behaves. Now, as a tester, you have to test in extraction, you have to test in loading part, you have to test transformation area, then you have to test the reports as well, and then you have to do the end-to-end testing. It means if you're passing a data here, that data is coming on this report or not. That is something end-to-end testing. Then you have to do the regression testing, sanity testing, smoke testing, black box testing, white box testing, and all those things we will see. Okay. So before this generations of data warehouse, now let me stick to the source file validation, what all things you can validate. So the first thing what I mentioned is the count of source files, and I think this is clear to you. The next validation as a tester, what you have to do is file format. Okay, you have received the source files. You have received the source files from the 8 location. Now, what is file format? Okay, you have agreed with the managers that, okay, on a daily basis, the file what you have to send me, it should be in this format. Restaurant, location, date, time. Okay, so it has been agreed that every manager at this multiple locations, they have to send me the file, and the name of the file should be in this format. So this is the naming convention I have taken as per my ease. Okay, that totally depends on the user defined. There are no strict rule and regulation for that in any ETL project. There is no rule and regulation. You can mention whatever name you like, but generally this naming convention is taken by the source team. The tester, the developer, they don't have any hold on this. The source team, whatever name they want, they can give that name to this. Okay, so as for example, here the name should be restaurant underscore Delhi. If today's date, then you have to mention is okay. And in Delhi, it was agreed that he will send you data at maybe suppose 11 p.m. right? We have discussed yesterday, no? So 11 p.m. So you can append a timestamp here 11 0 0. Okay. So in a typical source file, this will be the naming convention. Similarly, if you want from some other location from Gurgaon, so the naming convention should be just change from Delhi to Gurgaon. Fine. Similarly, this should be the naming convention for all the other restaurant locations. Okay. Now you have validated the number of source files that, okay, I have received 8 source files. After that, you should change the, you should validate the naming conventions of those source files. So the file which you have received from Delhi, you were expecting that the name of that file should be restaurant underscore Delhi underscore this date and this timestamp format. Similarly, from Gurgaon, restaurant underscore Gurgaon underscore date and this timestamp format. Okay. Now you might be thinking that, Tanvir, why to bother about name? How this is going to work, or how this is going to disturb our flow? What is the reason for that? Anyone who knows this, or any idea why I am stressing on the naming convention, that you have to validate the naming convention as well? Anyone?
So that it is better to differentiate like all the data, like Delhi is different, Gurgaon and
Okay, yeah, perfect. This is one correct reason. Perfect. Any other reason apart from this, from technical perspective? But this was correct. You have told correct answer. From this, we can understand that the daily water transactions happen and in Gurgaon water transactions happen. But apart from this, what else?
Maybe it will be easier for comparing the previous data. If you want to compare, then it will be easier for us to compare the previous data of that particular location.
This is also correct. We can do an analysis. We can compare data, and this will be easy. Okay. Okay, but these answers are correct, but these are from functional perspective. Anyone who can think from technical perspective, what kind of technical challenges, what will be the error you will get if the naming convention is not correct? Come on, guys, try. Okay, let me answer this. See, okay, now try to understand this. Okay, now we are going to enter in the technical world, and you have to be very careful from this time onwards. Okay. See, what happens now? Those who have worked on Unix, or if you have any idea about it, or if even if you don't have idea about Unix, don't get panic. Okay, Unix is just a, like it's like a server. Okay, it's a box of servers. You have multiple addresses. Addresses means you have multiple locations in that Unix box. Okay, on which you used to get a file. Okay, now suppose it has been agreed with the source team that they will send me all the source files in this particular location. Okay, suppose the location is ABC. Take a very simple example. Location is like in your laptop, you have the locations, no? C drive, D drive, E drive, right? So on a similar note, and not exactly like that, but in your Unix, you have multiple servers, multiple location. Okay, so suppose in this location ABC, or this is also known as path. In this path ABC, it has been agreed with the source team that they will send you data. Okay, they will send you source files. Now, in this path, suppose from Delhi, this is the file format we have agreed. Okay. Next day, they have sent me a file where maybe they missed this. They missed this one. Maybe, okay, suppose they missed this one. Next day, what happened? They sent a file and they missed this path. Okay, fine. And maybe some other day, by mistake or purposely, they thought that, okay, why to give this big name? Just write rest daily underscore like this. Okay. Now try to understand what are the challenges or what are the technical errors you will get if the naming convention is not as per this agreed convention. Okay, we have agreed that you have to send data in this naming format only, means the file name. I'm talking about the file name. You can see here the file name is mandatory checks. Here the file name is SQL assignment. Okay, the data time stamp is there. So similarly, I'm talking about the file name only. Okay, so if the file name is not as per this agreed format, so here what is the what the mistake is? He has forgot this underscore. So what will happen because of this small mistakes is when the developers, okay, they are coding, because you have received the source file. Suppose you have received the source file from all these locations. So after that, what will happen? You have a control M. If you don't know the control M, don't bother about this. We will discuss all these things down the line. So we have a job, or that is known as a script. Okay, that is script is nothing but inside that you have a lot of codings. Okay, so you just have to run that. You don't have to bother what is happening inside that, what the coding part is. If you're interested, you can do the analysis, but as a tester, the responsibility is just to run that. Okay, just click and run it. So once you will run it, and if everything is perfect in that script, what will happen? That the script will pick these files from the Unix location, and then it will load data in your database or in your staging area. You might remember that yesterday we were talking that the first layer is the staging layer, and there we directly dump the data in most of the scenarios. Okay, so when you will run that script, that will pick this file. Okay, and from this file it will pick the data, and then it will load into the staging table or a staging layer. Okay, now the problem is when the developers they are coding, they used to mention this naming format, okay, inside their script, that okay, pick search for this file which is having this naming convention restaurant underscore daily underscore this timestamp till here, okay. And if this file is not present, then you throw an error message, or actually that depends, sometimes it will throw an error message, or sometimes it will be paused and data will not be loaded. We will discuss all those things. So the developer will mention the name of the file. Now, if this is the name of file you have mentioned, okay, and I do understand the data is present in this file, data is totally correct, everything is correct. Now the script what developer has written, that script will pick this file or not? Question to you guys.
No, it will not select.
It will not pick this file. Why?
Yeah.
It is not according to the format which is mentioned previously. I mean, initial.
Right, because in the script, developer has mentioned that the naming convention should be exactly this, but by mistake, the manager of Daily Restaurant he has sent me in this format. Just underscore is missing here, and because of this underscore missing, that script will not pick this file, because that script will think that my user is asking me to search for this file naming conventions, this format. Okay, so it will not pick this format, and even if it will not pick this format, because here the format is different, so what will happen, either it will throw an error message that file not received, or it will just pass it, but it will not load any data because it has not picked any file, right? So because of that, this is the reason that the naming convention of the file must be exactly as per the discussed format. If that is not as per the exactly format, so this will happen. You have the data, you have the file, but data will not be loaded into your staging area. Hope this is clear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fine.
Everyone?
Hello.
Yeah. Hello. Yeah, tell me.
Related to this one, where we
Mhm.
can store the source file actually?
Where we can store the source file. Source file means you are talking about the source data, what we have received, right?
Yeah, correct.
Okay, very good question. Very good question. See, the data what we are getting from the source team. Okay, so here our source team was the manager at these 8 locations, but that depends on the project to project. In one of the project in which I was working, we have a separate source team at all. Okay, separate source team, and especially if you're working on big MNCs, no, I don't want to name those MNCs. You all know, okay. If you're working on the big MNCs and if you're working on big clients, so there what happened? They have totally separate organization who are handling as a source team. Separate organization will be the testing team. Separate organization the development team. Okay. So many guys they get confused that the source team are the business stakeholders. The source teams are the business analysts. No. Source team are totally separate team. Their task is to only give you data. Okay, they are only responsible for giving you data. Now the data, what suppose the source team they have curated data here, they have taken all the transactions. After that they will ask you that in which format you want transaction. Shall we send all this data or the source file directly in any database or server like Microsoft SQL Server, or if you want in .txt format, .csv format, .xls format. So if you have Unix server, Unix box, so in which location you want the data, so you have to tell them that okay, please place these files on a daily basis on this particular location. Okay, so to answer the question, so you have to, so these files will be placed in a particular Unix path or Unix location. Okay, hope I answered your question. Is this the
Yeah.
question you asked? Okay, so that totally depends. Generally it will be in Unix path, or sometimes these days you're working on APIs, they will give you an API link. Okay, you just have to trigger that API, and the source file will be fetched in any particular location. So location, again, there are no hard and fast rule for that, so that has to be mutually agreed. So these are the possible examples. You can get the data from the source team in a database as well. You can get in .txt file as well. You can get in .dat file as well, .csv file as well, .xls file, .xml file, JSON file. All these formats are possible. That totally depends project to project wise. Okay, but you should know how to handle all these things. You should be ready to work on all these things. Now about location again, that depends. If you're working, if in your project they're working on putty, that is a Unix box, no, so you have to share with them a particular location, that okay, in this location you have to send file on a daily basis or weekly basis or monthly basis, that the frequency of the source file totally depends on the project. Hope I answered your question and you guys have understood this. Is this clear, guys, everyone?
Yeah, fine.
Okay, perfect. So hope you understood the importance of checking this file naming convention. You should be this is very critical. Okay, you have as a tester, you should test that the naming of the file is correct or not. Okay, so far we have seen two test cases. The first test case is count of source files. You have to check that the number of source files is correct or not. In my case, we are expecting to receive 8 source files from 8 different restaurant location on daily basis. Now you might be thinking that, Tanvir, how is it possible that on a daily basis we will check this? So you can automate this. How to do the automation and all those things we will see down the line. So don't bother about all those stuff, guys. Okay, we have good amount of time. We will see all those things. Okay, so just the test cases, the areas I'm trying to make you aware of, that these are the checks where you should be very alert. You should do the testing. Okay. Perfect, very good. And the second is the file format or the naming format. You should check the naming format as well. And I have and simultaneously I'm telling you the consequences as well. If the source files is the total source files is not same, so what will happen? You will get incorrect number. Okay. So okay, and similarly, if the naming is not correct, so what will happen? Your script or the job what you are running to load data, it will not pick the that particular file, and ultimately data will not be loaded. Okay, now just give some time here to understand this in a further way. Suppose you're working in an ETL project. Okay, sorry. You're working in ETL project. Okay, and you are testing that second test case, that the naming convention is correct or not, file format is correct or not. Okay, and you have seen that okay, this is the file format and you are testing this. Okay, so what you will do, you will run that job. Okay, you have run that job. You see, running job is very simple, guys. Don't think about that how I will run the job and all those things. Very simple. I will show you that in the control how you can run the job. Just you have to right click on that, and then you will get option of run. Click on run and the job will be run. Okay, once it is run successfully, the data will be loaded. So you have run the job, the data is loaded successfully. So is that over? You have verified that the naming convention is correct, the file was picked, data has been loaded. Is that over, or anything else you will check there? Anyone? What else you should check there? You have run the job has picked this file, data has been loaded, you verified that okay, naming convention is correct, data has been loaded, everything is fine. What?
File size. What is the file size?
No file size. Before that, I'm talking about the naming convention only. I'm not going on size now. So just about naming convention. What else you should check?
Date actually.
Naming
Data,
convention.
row count.
No, I'm not going on row count now, and we will come to that after this test case. Okay, that's the third or fourth test case. So what else you should check, guys? This is the file. Okay, this is the file name. File is present in the Unix location. Okay, ABC location we have taken here. You have run the job, data has been loaded, everything is correct. So it means the second test case is passed, naming convention is passed, or anything is pending. That's what I'm asking. Think from negative testing perspective. You might have done negative testing. What should be the negative testing here? Just apply your common sense and think. What should be the negative testing in this case?
Both spellings and
spellings. Okay. See, you have placed a file with the correct naming convention. Okay, this is the positive test case. You run the job and you have seen that okay, the job has picked this file and it has loaded data. So positive test case is done. It is passed. But for every test case, you should have one positive and one negative test case as well. Okay. So to test the negative test case, what you have to do is purposely you have to change the name of this file. Okay. Change the name to some this kind of name. Okay. And then place this file in that particular location. Okay. What you're doing here is purposely you are changing the name of this file. Okay. Intentionally you are changing the name of this file, and again you are keeping this file on that particular location ABC. Okay. And then you are running the job. Now tell me, what is the expectation after running the job?
That will not
Should
pick
not
this
pick.
file. Should not take
Perfect,
this file.
perfect, very good, very good, perfect. So guys, this is the negative test case. You should not only stick to positive test case always, right? You should check the negative test case as well. That if the file naming convention is not correct, so the expectation is the job should not pick this file, right? That is the expectation. And if the job is not picking this file, it means it is correct, right? Because that is what we're expecting. That if the naming convention is not correct, then the file, then the job should not pick that file. Okay. Then after that, if the job has not, no, see, after that there are two ways. If the naming convention is not correct, so the one one way is the job will not pick this file, and job will throw you an error message that file is not present at the particular location. Okay, that's the one error message. Okay. And if the job has failed, no, what will happen? You will get a red color signal there. Okay. Or sometime, sometime no, in most of the cases, you will receive an email notification that, okay, this particular job has failed. Okay. And you will get a log message. The reason is it has not, the file was not present at that particular location. And this is the expectation. This is the negative test case. Okay. But in some of the projects I have seen, what they're doing is if the file is not present, they will not fail the job. What they will do is they will not load any data at all. So which one is more appropriate from your perspective? The job should fail or job should pass while not loading any data? Which one is correct?
Error one is correct. Like we should know.
Right, perfect, very good. The error one is correct. Maybe I'm not sure in your project how it goes. Okay. So in one of the project in which I was working, they have coded, the development team, they have coded in such a way that if the file is not present means if the naming convention is not correct, so the job will silently pass. Okay, but it will not load any data. But how I will come to know that the file was not there if the job has passed? If the job has passed, I am under the impression that everything is correct, everything is going smooth, right? But this is not the case, right? So that's what, when you're doing a negative testing here, you should check that the job must fail if I'm placing a file with incorrect naming convention, and that's a negative test case. Hope this is clear.
So like if the job is not giving that error and it's silently passing that thing, so like whom should we connect to, like the job team to get that
Perfect.
error thing?
Perfect. Very good. Very good. Now the question is that Tanveer, purposely I have kept this file with incorrect naming convention. I have run the job, okay, and the job has silently passed. It has not thrown in it has not thrown any error message, right? That's what you're asking.
Yes, yes.
Okay. See, if the job is not throwing any error message, so first of all, what you have to do is you means ideally what should happen, that the job must fail. That's the first thing. The job should fail. Okay. If it is not failed, then you have to raise a defect and you have to assign this defect to the developer, not to the source team. Okay. You have to assign this defect to the developer. That why your job is not failing even if the file naming convention is incorrect. Okay, that's the one. Oh, this defect should be assigned to the developer. And okay, yeah, this defect has to be assigned to developer. Now you have placed a file with incorrect naming convention, okay, and the file and the job has failed. Then after that you have to check the log, that the what is the error message, the error message is correct or not. The error message should tell you that the file was not present there. Okay, so these are the root cause you have to do the analysis. Okay, hope I answered your question. Hello.
Yes, like little bit. I just wanted to know, like when we assign it to the developer, so
Mhm.
it's their part to make sure that error is coming and it's showing what is incomplete.
Right. Is the developer job to check what the mistake they have done in the coding part? Because ideally, if the file naming convention is incorrect, then the job must fail. So if anything is happening with the job, pass, fail, or anything, or incomplete, or the job is in waiting status, no, you have to directly discuss with the developer. Then what is the problem with this? You have to check with the corresponding developer who has developed that particular code.
And this is ETL developer.
ETL developer, yeah, that will be
Hmm.
ETL developer, not the OBI developer. Right now, we're not talking about the OBI developer. OBI developer will come into picture when we are going to test that report testing. Okay, here we're talking only about the ETL developers. These all will be developed by the ETL developers only. Okay, you have to discuss with them then why this job is not failing. Okay.
Yeah.
Hope I answered your question. Is that clear?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So these are the things, and these are the very minute things, but you should take care of these things, that where to test, what are the negative test cases you have to do, and all those things. Similarly, in the number of source files, you can do negative testing here as well. Okay, here we are expecting 8 source files, but purposely what you do, you place 7 source files only. Okay, purposely, intentionally, and run the job. Okay, so what is your expectation now? If you are placing 7 source files, what should be, what should the scenario here?
Job should fail.
Mhm. Yes, job should fail. Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
It should throw a corresponding log message in the log file, error message in the log file.
Error message in the log file. Okay. Okay. Correct. See, here a small twist is there. What will happen? No. Generally, okay. What happens? Now, try to understand this. We have 8 files here. Okay. Because we are getting data from 8 multiple sources. Sometime what happened, we want to load data of these 8 multiple locations in 8 different tables. Okay, in 8 different tables in the staging table. First scenario. Second scenario, in some of the projects, they want to load data of all these 8 files in one staging table only. Okay, well, scenario 1 is you want to load data in 8 different staging tables. This is the first scenario. Second scenario, load data in a single staging table. So these two scenarios depend from project to project perspective. Okay, now let's discuss about the first scenario where the expectation is the data from all these 8 locations should be loaded in 8 different staging tables. So here what will happen if you have received data only from the 7 source, no? So all the data of the 7 sources will be loaded into the staging table. Okay, because there is no relation among all these jobs. Okay, they are not bothered. Delhi data is not bothered about Gurgaon data, whether Gurgaon data is there or not. Gurgaon data is not bothered about the Noida data, whether it is there or not. There is no relation among all these things. So even if you have received 7 source files, the data of the 7 locations will be loaded into the 7 different staging tables. Now, what about 8 Mumbai? So the only Mumbai job will fail, but you will get data of the 7 locations into the stage table. Okay, but if you're going with the scenario 2, when you're loading data in the single stage table, so here we have relation among all these things, all these 8 locations, and even if one location source file is not there, so the expectation is that job must fail. So here in this case you'll be having 8 different jobs, because these 8 different jobs will load data in 8 different staging tables. But here you have only one staging table, so you'll be having only one job, and this job will fail if you are missing data from any one location, maybe from Mumbai location. But here in this case, in this scenario, what will happen? Only the job which is related to Mumbai location, that will be failed, and the other 7 jobs will be passed, because here there is no dependency among the jobs. And generally the dependencies will come into picture when you are moving from staging to integration layer or the access layer. Hope this is clear. You guys understood this? So similarly, you have to place the source files. You have to place only 7 source files, okay, and try to load the data and check how it is behaving. So ideally, this 8th job should fail and should give you error message that the file is not present. Any question on this, guys?
Sir, hello. Actually,
yeah.
the staging tables in the sense, those source files only or flat files only?
No, you have source files. Source files means the data which you receive from the source team. Okay, this is clear. After you have loaded, after you have received data from the source team. Okay, source files. This is from the source team. Okay, after you have received the source files from the source team. Okay, then you have to run the job. These jobs are nothing but the script. Okay, they're very simple scripts. You just have to run it. Okay, after you run this script, if everything is good, data will be loaded in staging layer or staging table. Okay, so till here we are talking about only files and jobs. After the job will run, then now you are entering into the data warehouse or database. Okay, so then data will be loaded into the staging layer or the staging tables. Whatever tables you have, the data will be loaded into all these corresponding tables. So here I'm talking about tables, the first layer of ETL. Okay, here the staging layer. So their data will be loaded or dumped. Is that clear?
Yeah, clear.
Okay, so this is the flow. So far we have reached this till here, till this layer. Okay, so the first is source files. You see the source files from the source team. Okay, you have done some validation that the naming convention is correct or not. You have received all the source files or not. Okay, then you have to run the job. Okay, and then if everything looks good, the number of source files is correct, naming convention is correct, then the data will be loaded into the staging layer or the staging table. But if the number of source files is not 8, then here the job should fail. Okay, if the naming convention is not correct, then the job should fail and data should not be loaded into the staging layer or the staging table. Okay, any question on this, guys? Or you guys got confused?
I have a question here.
Yeah.
So in ETL, it tends to extraction, right? So this is nothing but extracting the data from sources, right?
Perfect. Yeah.
So this can be done with the ETL tool, right? So instead of that, we are using a script.
This can be done with the ETL tool. Which tool you are talking?
I mean, any
Informatica?
ETL tool like Informatica.
Yeah. So you are correct that this can be done through Informatica as well. You are totally correct. So this job is nothing but you have in Informatica, if you have work, no, you have the design and the monitor workflow and all those things. Okay. So this is nothing but inside Informatica, you have the codes. That is what you are running. Okay. So that actually Informatica is doing this. If you're working on Python, so that nothing but this Python code is doing this. So actually this particular tool is doing. Okay, this job is nothing but this is a script which you are keeping in Informatica, or you can run from Python or any other platform. They're nothing but the tools only. Okay, so just we used to give the name as a job, right? Is that clear?
Which means this Unix command is this Unix server is connected to the Informatica.
Yeah, correct. And when you will run the job, no, in the Informatica, you have the workflow monitor. From there, you can see the progress of job. It can show you all the steps that, okay, file has been picked, data has been loaded, this much data has been loaded, this much data updated, this much data rejected, and all those things you can see there. So this is nothing but integrated with the Informatica only, right?
Yeah, okay.
Is that clear or not?
Yeah, clear.
So all these things are happening. We are doing all these things from tools only, but just try from. So I'm trying to make understand from the detailed perspective that what exactly is happening. Okay, then I will show you from controlling that what all jobs are there and all these things. Okay, So guys, so far we have discussed two things today about the file. So we are on the E part only, extraction. We are here only, and it will take some more time to understand that in extraction, what all things happen, and as tester, what all test cases you have to test. Okay, and then we'll proceed with the load transfer and all those things. Okay, so today we have seen two test cases. The first is count of source files. You have to check this, the number of source files is correct or not. You have to do negative testing as well, and you should check that if the count of source files is not correct, then what should happen? The job should fail, and you should receive an error message in terms of email notification. And then the naming format of the file format should be correct as per the naming convention what has been discussed. So any question, guys? Any other question if you have? Any confusion?
Actually, if you have flat files like .txt or any other file, for validating, we are using Unix command only. Whether we are using Unix commands or through queries like SQL.
Yeah, so you see what all so far what I have told you, number of source files and the file naming conventions, this we can do through Unix commands only. Okay, like if you want to see the total in total files, 8 files has been there or not. Okay, you can use that Unix command wc-l ls-ltr the star, you can give that wildcard, and you can check the number of source files is there or not. Okay, so these validations, there's two validations what I have told you so far. This you can do using Unix commands, the basic Unix commands, and maybe you can automate that as well. So on a daily basis that will run, and it will give you the result that number of source files, the naming convention is correct or not.
Yeah, okay, clear.
Okay, but yeah, if your question is that Tanveer, if I want to connect SQL database to Unix and I want to run from Unix, that also you can do. You can do the ODBC connections. Okay, and from Unix you can do that part as well. We have done that, and that also works.
Okay, fine. Yeah.
Any other question, guys? Any confusion? Any other thing you want to discuss?
Hello, sir. Actually, we need to write what you told, like positive case and negative scenario test case. We need to write for all kind of levels like source.
You see, again, I'm repeating, I'm talking very general scenario. Okay, it's my responsibility to tell you each and everything. Okay, but maybe in your project that is not applicable, so you don't have to do that. But you never know in which project will be there down the line. Maybe you will switch company, you will get some other project, and that project some new scenarios will be there. So that's where the test cases, positive, negative, what all we are trying to cover. This is a generic. This is applicable to any ATL project across any organization. Okay, because we cannot restrict to any particular project, right? So that's why I'm trying to introduce all these particular scenarios that, okay, this is a positive test case. This is the expected result. This can be a negative test case. Then if the negative test case, you have to test like this, and this should be the expected result. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So for interview perspective also, it's a
From interview, this is very important. They will start from file level validation only. They will ask you that as a file level validation, what are test cases you will write, what are the negative test cases you will write. Okay, this is very important. If you guys want, please make a note of all these things. I will share this with you. Okay, but if you want, you can take a note, take a screenshot. These are very important, guys. Those who have attended ETL interviews, they might be thinking that, yeah, this kind of questions were asked. So please make a note of all those things. Okay.
Yeah, if possible, please share those.
Sure. I will share that.
Yeah.
Any other question, guys?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that like it will run through script, right? What are all the things in script actually? Like whatever the file type validation and naming validation is there, right? So that all will take it in automatically in that script or what?
Okay, you are talking about the script of job or the script as a tester, what you will write to validate the test cases. Which one you're talking?
Like we can get the source file from another, we can get the source, right? That will be run through script to get the data actually. What is in that script actually?
Sorry, I'm not getting the script which you're telling. You're talking the script that the source file what I have received, and I'm loading that data of source file into the staging table. Is that the script?
Correct. You run the tab, right?
This one you're talking. Okay. Fine. Very good. Okay, so before that, so it's almost 8. Those who want to drop, you can drop, but if you want to continue, you can continue, no issue. Okay. So these scripts are nothing but inside this, you have Unix commands. Okay. Or if you're working on Python means platform, you have Python commands. Okay, first thing. Second thing, what the script are doing, nothing. They are just searching for that particular file. They are checking the naming convention. They are checking the header, the trailer, the count of file, the file delimiters. Okay, the column of files. If all looks good, then again they will check the full, if it is full load or not, it is incremental load or not. If all looks good, then they will extract the data from that source file and they will load that into the particular table in the staging layer where you want to load the data. So in these scripts, you have only Unix commands, if else condition, while, do while, if you have worked on that. No, so all those commands will be there and they will check all this logics, and if everything looks good, then they have a loader command and they will load data into the in your staging table. Generally, it can be Unix script or it can be Python script, and it can be combination of both the script. If you are interested to look into this, that what this script is doing, what is the inside this, and you should know, okay, as if you're doing a white box testing, you should know that, and that will be very interesting. So you can talk to your developer, get that script path, okay, open that script, okay, and you can see all the commands, what all they have written. That will be very interesting to see.
Okay, like whatever the validation we are doing for source file, it's already in the script, right? Actually,
no, see, you are correct. You might be telling me that, Tanvir, all the validations, what I'm doing, that is in the script, then why I'm doing that again, right? Is that your question?
Yeah, correct.
So see, as a tester, our task is to test the requirements, that whether developer has coded that correctly or not. If we will go with that assumption that, okay, developer has done this, then why I'm testing? So that is the job of tester, right? What all requirements you have to test from your perspective. Maybe the developer might has missed that part, or he has not understood the requirement correctly and he has done some other coding. Okay, so that's the task of tester. You have to test the requirement from your understanding, from your perspective. You don't have to think that the developer has covered that or not. That's the developer job. Okay, so that's the job of a tester, right? You have to test from your perspective from scratch.
Yeah, like correct. After the data will be loaded in staging layer, then we do testing, right?
No. Before, you see, you have to start your testing from source files itself. You have received the source from source team. You should start testing from here itself. That's what I told you. Though. First of all, you have to check the number of source files, it is correct or not. Because you see, if the number of source files is not correct, the example which I have shown you, that 100 profit and the next day it became 120 profit and next day it became 100 profit, right? In the very beginning, I told you that, right? Why it happened? Because we have missed the source file from the Mumbai location. So if you're not checking here in the source files and you're directly testing from the staging layer, so what will happen if the data is not correct, if you don't have the full data? Maybe the staging layer, everything looks good, but you have missed some data. And if you have missed the data, so your numbers will not be correct, right? Suppose you are calculating your aggregate marks of all the 8 semester of BTech, okay? And maybe you don't have the marks of 7th and 8th semester. So what you are doing, you are summing the marks of 6th semester and dividing by 8. That will give you incorrect number, right? So that's because you don't have the sufficient data. So that's why as a tester, your job starts from the source file validation. You should start testing from here only. But generally testers, they will do testing from the staging layer. They will think that, okay, I'm a ETL tester, I have to do testing of database only. No. I'm talking very generic perspective. Your testing should start from the source file. And you know, in most of the interviews, my students know, when they will attend interviews, they will share that, okay, they're asking questions from the source file itself. And that's the expectation these days from the testers, that they should do end-to-end testing from the source files till the report testing. They should know all these things, all the test cases. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, fine.
I'm not sure if I have answered your question. You understood, you are convinced or not. Okay, but this is the scenario, brother. Okay. Any other question? Okay, perfect. But that was really good. You guys are asking questions, making the session interactive, and this is what I like, and this motivates me to share further information. So yeah, perfect. So thanks a lot, guys, for your time, for attending the session today. Please ping me, call me, or anything if you need any other clarification anytime. Okay, and let's connect tomorrow at the same time. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Take care. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.